It is autumn at Lake Wanaka, time when mountains begin to rest from the summer's melting and wrap up in snow for a season. Time when mountaineers turn from the active pleasures of summer climbing to the work of repairing and building their huts. In the Matukituki Valley, nearly 30 miles from the township of Wanaka, Mount Avalanche is dressed in new snow down to the bush line to welcome the first carload of mountaineers come to the opening of the new aspiring hut. Across the Matukituki River lies the Mount Aspiring homestead, whose boundary is Mount Aspiring itself. Here, Mrs. Aspinall, friend to mountaineer and lover of the valley, has brought up her son and daughter, cut off from the world outside by an often unfordable river. In recent years, the radio telephone has done much to ease the utter isolation of their life, but they're thrown upon their own resources far more than most people in the modern world. No expedition to the valley is complete without the assistance or advice of Jerry Aspinall, who is setting out to guide the main party through the tricky ford at Hell's Gates, the gorge which stops all ordinary vehicles. From here on, everyone has to walk, except for a distinguished few. A.P. Harper, pioneer explorer of the West Coast, chats with other North Island visitors before sharing a hard seat with Peter Graham of the Franz Josef Glacier. It's journey's end for cars at this point due to the river and rough ground ahead, so 2 special trucks are left to carry essential supplies for the hut opening. This is the start of a really bumpy journey of 12 miles to the aspiring hut. Mountaineers from all over New Zealand are following the tussock trail made by the first truck 3 years ago, when the building materials came up the valley. The track skirts the riverbed, rising steadily to join the snow line, above which towers the grim pinnacle of Shark's Tooth. The valley narrows, 400 yards of hair-raising switchback over side gullies, which climbers call Gillespie Street, after the man whose drive pushed the road through, lasting out 10-ton boulders to fill up deep and narrow hollows. Even today, the passengers prefer to walk, and the rounded boulders of the Rob Roy Junction seem like a main highway. Afternoon, 4 miles of river flat to go, a bend in the valley, the smoke of the hut. Snow plumes drift off the peaks, a full mile above the newly opened Mount Aspiring hut, which sleeps 60 with comfort, and was erected by the New Zealand Alpine Club Otago section. This stone was laid by A.P. Harper, who at 84 is still young enough to be present to open the hut. Among the club's most honored guests are the Graham brothers, Peter and Alec. Their climbing work in the high Alps laid the firm foundation of a great New Zealand guiding tradition. The Otago section has reason to be proud of its mountain headquarters, the latest addition to the club's network of alpine huts. One task this Easter is to pack timber to repair the shelter flattened by winter snows high on the ridge of Mount French, the last overnight halt before aspiring itself. It's cold setting out. The sun will not reach the valley floor for hours yet. Out of the bush into Shovel Flat. Time for a rest. Time to enjoy the view. The tip of Aspiring looks over the quarterdeck and French Ridge, remote in the clear morning air. But still a long way to go, so the breather has to be a short one. The next halt, lunchtime. A chance to remove that small stone that's worrying the big toe, or perhaps to add a few strips of sticking plaster here and there, as well as remembering Mother's last words before leaving home, to keep your feet dry. Fresh air and wood smoke make dry bread and cold sausage really tasty on a day like this. The hardest part is getting underway again. And after the final river crossing, the climbing really begins. Up through the steep bush onto the ridge of Mount French. Awkward loads and deep snow have made a long and heavy day of it, and nobody will be sorry to reach the bivvy site. The last party arrives to find the framework well in position. Tomorrow, the hut will be complete. Next summer, we'll see the bivvy used as a base for high climbing, justifying its reconstruction during this Prelude to Aspiring. It is autumn at Wanaka, but winter already up here. Time for climbers to go down into the valley and leave the stars and the peaks alone to their winter silence.